evening, sir.
Hi, Khushhali. You have to speak up a little bit.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, but थोड़ा सा और जोर से बोलेंगे आप?
जी, sir, sure.
सुनाई नहीं दे रहा, आवाज कम सुनाई दे रही है. Let me check up my volume also. I think it's okay. Yeah, you'll have to speak up a little, Khushhali.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. So, Khushhali, congratulations for being where you are. I hope the language for your interview is English and not Hindi.
Yes, sir, English.
All right, okay. So, congratulations for where you are. It's a very significant position, and from 7 odd lakhs who probably wrote the exam down to 14,624 who were called for the mains, down now to 2,600 odd for the final run of the baton exchange in the third last league, which is the final selection of 1,000 odd 1,100 children. And congratulations that you are there. And I see this is your second attempt.
Sir, third attempt and second interview.
Wow. So let me just mention that second interview. Okay. So you've been through the whole process earlier.
Yes, sir.
And so why KingMakers? Why me?
Sir, I want to improve upon my score further, and I have heard a lot about you from my friends. So that's why,
Who's your
sir.
friend?
Sir, Chandra Prabha, she took a
Chandra
session.
Prabha Sharma seems to have become like my, like instead of his voice, she's become her master's voice. A lot of candidates are now coming to me who have been asked by Chandra Prabha Sharma that you must go and meet Vivek, sir. So I hope she told you a little bit about me, but just to give you a very quick snapshot, as I said, my name is from Vivek. My name is Vivek Harinan. I'm from Uttar Pradesh, belong to the 7980 batch of IAS, and attempt maybe topped the interview because I got 215 out of 250 in my interview, which is like getting 240 out of 275 now. And what will be of interest to you is I'm a Kumar of Rajasthan. I'm married I'm married to your mother's namesake, Sangeeta. She's she's married to her who's also studied in the same school, but of course in Ajmer. She's a Sophia Ajmer product. So I think there's some heavenly connection between you and me to
Yes,
ensure that I get you to get 200 marks in your civil services interview. What marks did you get in your first interview?
so 184.
So then you're already there. So what happened? Why you were not able to get 184 and not get it?
Sir, in mains, I qualified by only 5 more marks than the cutoff. So in total, I had 937. So 23 marks were less than the final cutoff.
So which means you need to do how have you done your mains this time?
Sir, I have done it good. I have attempted all questions, and I had prepared it very well. And uh, I knew like it was not as if there is some knowledge gap. I had the basic command over all the questions at this time.
Yeah, because if you've got 184, you're already there. I mean, you can't you see because a couple years, last 2 3 years, the toppers of the interview have been my children. And they are all in the 28, 209, 210, that range. So the maximum that you possibly can get nowadays is about, between 220, not more than 225, 220
Yes.
to 225. But that's very rare. Typically, it will be between 195 to 200 for the better ones. So improving your mains substantially, if you are able to even continue with 184 or 200 plus, I think it's a damn good score for you to get. So you just tell me what are your anxieties because you already know about it. I basically coach children at 3 4 levels. One is this, I mean, I coach them only for strategy on how to celebrate 30 minutes of time. I don't do mock interviews. I do ask a few mock questions in between just to validate whether what I'm trying to get across to you has been absorbed or not. So that's it. Otherwise, it's not like a mock interview. And so the first thing, I mean, you must be, I'm sure must have people must have already told you that you have to celebrate those 30 minutes.
Yes,
And
sir.
you have number one. Number two, it's not a question and answer session. I think I'm sure people have told you it's not a question and answer session. And a lot of people actually just go there, try and answer questions. It's also not entirely a test of your knowledge. So knowledge is the basis on which the conversation will happen. So you can't be not knowing about things and still talk about it.
Yes, sir.
So that's second. Third is that you must learn to articulate your sentences in a manner that they don't become too long and too boring. So you have to learn to capsulize your answer, which you must be already done because if you've done 180, you well to be able to do it. So as I said, not a Q&A. Remember, it's a test of your personality, and the personality consists at different levels, which is the emotional personality, your physical personality, your intelligence personality, your spiritual personality, all combined together. Does it reflect that is equal to CSP, which is your civil service personality? You have to consciously practice home. Uh, when is your interview?
So not in first phase.
So not in the first place. Good, perfect. Because Chandraprabha and all, some of them are in the first phase, so they were kind of very, very desperate. So what you have to do is, Khushhali, is very simple. You have to every data on your DAF has the capacity to become what I call a conversational trigger.
Yes, sir.
Now, a conversational trigger is what comes in your direction. So it could be a question, it could be a comment, it could be this book. Can you talk about this book? It could be a socioeconomic elaboration on some issue. It could be anything. Five people, it could be anything. But invariably, it is in the form of question. What you have to understand it's a conversational trigger on which you have to start a conversation and not just answer a question. Now, that is difficult because the ears sometimes are so tuned to the fact of only catching the question aspect of the trigger that they therefore you start answering. Instead of starting a conversation, you start answering. And a question answer session cannot, an answer cannot be more than maybe 20 seconds. So if you are into that 15-20 second kind of answer mode, then you'll be getting about 3 minutes, and in 15 minutes questioning, you might have to answer about 40 odd questions, which is like death knell, it's like suicide.
Yes, sir.
But if you're doing a conversation, you'll be doing a conversation for 1.5 to 2 minutes on subjects in which all six of you are interested. A conversational trigger comes, you let loose a capsule of information on conversational mode. They find something interesting in their conversational capsule. They ask you, Khushhali, can you elaborate on that? Your second volume goes out and you discuss it for 2 minutes and then you move on to another one, which means you're doing about 10 to 12. That's it. 10 to 12 conversational triggers, conversationals happening around things which are current and things like that. It could be, as I said, do with your DAF, and it could be do with what's staring you in the face in terms of current affairs and things like that. I will go through it, what it could be, but I think that's the mode that you have to follow.
Yes,
You
sir.
already know all about eye contact. You have to maintain it 100% of the time. You have to maintain eye contact with the person who's giving you the conversational trigger 100% while the conversation is coming in your direction. But when your conversation starts, you look about 70 odd percent of the time into the eyes of the person who gave you the trigger. And the balance 20-25%, you need to look into the eyes of the other members of the panel very clearly to establish the principle that it's one to many. I mean, the conversation could come from one side, but from my side, it's not a dialogue. It's a conversation always. So it's not like one to one, one to one, one to one, one to one. It's I am speaking with all of you all the time. That has to be established because you need to keep everybody involved. Because at the end of the day, when the marks are being given, the chairperson will normally say that, okay, I think she deserves, like in this case, like 184. So he would have probably said, I think she deserves 180. Somebody said, no, but The way she spoke to me was fabulous. I thought she's 190. Somebody else said that's okay like that. So then there's a consensus which is developed, and you say the chairman says, okay, do you think that for 194, 184 would be a good score for Khushhali? And everybody says, I think yeah, 184 is a good score. That's how you get it. So you got to win everybody's heart.
Yes,
It's
sir.
not like you just win some one person's heart and
Mm.
that's done. No, you win everybody's heart. And that can only happen if everybody feels at every moment of time that Khushhali was speaking to us and not just to one and two and three and four and five. Now that's something you need to practice. If you've done it before, good, but otherwise you have to sit in front of the mirror and you have to practice. Assuming that it's coming straight or the left or right, and then check your eye contact and your movement, that it's conversational all around. Eye contact having been established, I presume that you're so you how tall are you? What did you wear last time?
So sorry.
Yeah, I mean, what saree?
Uh, it's a plain, white colored sari.
Pure white.
It had a border, black border. It was plain, so as not to invite any question on sari, I chose it plain.
But is that you? I mean, is that Khushhali? Normally, do you wear plain white saris with black borders?
No, sir.
Then why did you wear it?
To look more formal, sir. It's like off-white in color and having black
I
border.
know what you. I mean, I've seen that. Why don't you wear something from Rajasthan? You're
Sir, I
from
will try.
Rajasthan.
Yes,
Why
sir.
not? Why not?
Okay, I will do this, sir.
Kota Doria. There are so many saris of Rajasthan. A typical Rajasthani print.
Okay, sir.
Now, I don't
I
know when
will.
your interview is. It'll obviously, if it's in the winter months, you'll have to choose something which is more silky-ish or something like that, so that it keeps you warm. And if it's one of those May, June type, then you'll have to wear something which is more cottonish, so that you feel comfortable and you're not. In one, you should not be feeling cold. In the other one, you should not be sweating. But please wear a conversation point.
Okay, sir, I will.
And I'll give you an example. Saranya, who's got selected and she's Tamil Nadu cadre now, she's already working last 2 years ago. She was also told that you have to look simple and you have to look dignified and stuff like that. So I said, what are you wearing? She said, I'm wearing a light blue sari with a blue border. Then I said, why don't you go and join Sisters of Charity in Kolkata? Or what you are wearing is, I would typically tell you, why don't you go and join Savai Mansingh Hospital and become a ward lady? Because that's what they wear. So she said, but sir, this is what I was told. I said, look, I'm telling you also now. You went for the interview, you've been there. I mean, Saranya, of course, came out and I'll tell you what happened later on, but you've been there. Right now, I'm telling you, I'll shave off my mustache. If you tell me that when you went for the interview last time, there was even one person who was sitting like that in a plain, clean sari with just one border and nothing else. Think about it.
Sir, I met one person from Bihar.
Panel,
She was
the
wearing a
panel, the panel,
Madhubani print.
panel,
Okay.
panel, panel, panel.
No, sir, not in panel.
Why? If that is the so colored preferred dress, why is the panel not wearing it? Everybody's looking they look the best. And they're wanting to select the best. So it's okay. I mean, I'm saying there's nothing. Please don't get out of that mindset that, I mean, I've been through this service and I tell you, my batchmates and all used to be dressed absolutely drop dead gorgeous. Yeah. None of them ever wore a plain sari with a gray single border. This is a myth. And it's bloody boring for the panel. Yaar. Ye kya sala, one more plain sari with blue border, one more plain sari with gray border. Acha, हाँ भाई ये आई. So I'll tell you about Saranya. So I said, look, Saranya, please, she's from Kanjivaram. She's from Tamil Nadu. I said, you're from Kanjivaram. Why don't you wear your state? Why don't you wear your district? She said, I'll wear it, sir. So I said, wear and don't wear something which is dazzling. Because as I said, two important points that you must note. Number one is respect and honesty. In your entire 30 minutes of stay in that, you have to reflect respect and honesty in every possible way. And one of them is in your dress. You have to be honestly dressed, you have to be respectfully dressed.
Yes.
So respectfully dressed, I will wear a sari of Rajasthan, I will wear the prints of Rajasthan, but it will not be like with a, it's bad. It's a very decent, sober print sari with the borders of Rajasthan, with the colors of Rajasthan, depending on the weather, depending on the time of the day when you are being interviewed, appropriate to sing. That's one. Number two, it's honest. Because that's Khushhali. That's what I wear. And that's how I wear it. The first, and I said, look, you wear it, 9 out of 10 chances are that people, they will ask you that you're wearing a lovely sari. Where is it from? Can you tell us something about it? She came out of the interview, first call. He said, sir, I don't know whether you coached them or not. I walked in. First question was, Saranya, you're wearing a very unique kind of sari. Can you tell us something about it? And I had told her that you must answer that at this, sir, I'm not just wearing a sari, I'm wearing the district to which I belong. I'm from Kanchipuram and I'm wearing a Kanchipuram sari. And I wear it because I want to support the weavers of Kanchipuram. I said, possible question could also be, then you must learn all about the weaver problems of Tamil Nadu and this thing. And the next question, sir, was you said you want to support the weavers of Kanchipuram. But tell me, forget Kanchipuram, but what are the general problems of weavers? Why is there so many suicides which is happening amongst weavers? How do you think you can help the weaver community? These first two questions, bilkul tailor-made. I did not know, sir, whether I'm talking to you or I'm talking to a 5-member panel sitting in Dholpur House. Now you get my point.
Yes, sir.
So wear a sari of Rajasthan, wear a sari about which you should know कि क्या है, कोटा डोरिया है, क्या है, लहरिया है, जो भी है, जो भी आप पहनती. Or it's a, as I said, depending, it could be a simple Rajasthani silk sari with a typical Rajasthani weaving pattern of the place where you're from, Bikaner or whatever else. And if a question is asked, you should know about the sari, the background of the sari, who makes these saris, and why are you wearing it? Wear it with pride.
Yes, sir.
So that's as far as the dress is concerned. See, typically, as I said, they know nothing about you. All they know about you is a DAF. Let me see your DAF, and I hope you've not put on too much weight between the picture taken in DAF and now.
No, sir. 2 years gap.
Sorry,
2 years old. The picture is 2 years older.
it's okay, but what happens is a lot of times there's a lot of weight people put on. I think you put on some weight between DAF picture and now. I
Yes,
would request you to please lose weight. Look
sir.
exactly the way you looked at that. Doesn't look good. No person has let go. Once you've got the DAF going, I've done DAF 2, which means now I've made it to the mains, I've made it to this playing. There's a sense of aram, to chalo khao, pio. No. I think you
Yes,
have got to remain focused and you have to show that I'm exactly what I was pre-DAF 2 and now.
yes, sir.
So I would request you to lose at least 4 kilos. Yeah, very sincere advice. Look exactly the way you were looking in the picture which has been taken for DAF 2 because that's what they'll have in front of them.
Yes, sir.
Now you walk in wearing this sari, and so 4 or 5 things you have to wear. A, you have to wear your confidence. You have to wear yourself. You have to wear your state or your district, and you have to wear your smile. These 4 things you have to wear. Practice how will you walk in, just greet the people and sit down with a flourish. कि उनको लगे भाई हाँ भाई क्या चीज है, क्या मतलब अब मजा आएगा इससे बात करने में. All that has to be established in what I call the first impression, which you don't get a second chance to do. And believe me, 5 to 7 minutes virtually determine 50 to 60% of the bracketization of marks.
Yes, sir.
पहले 5-7 मिनट में आ जाता है कि भाई ये 120 के नीचे है या 130 के नीचे है या 130 से 180 है या 180 के ऊपर है. And then the question happens on that. If it's a disinterested, ये वो 2-4 सवाल पूछ लिए and all, that means they've already bracketized you. It's below sub 40, let's not waste time on her, and then you're out. But if they find in the first 5-7 minutes, wow, this girl is like good civil service material. Now let's find out more about her and let's ask her a little more question so that we are able to bring her in. That's how that is established in the first 5 to 7 minutes. The first impression is only purely focal. You've not even spoken a word. So that's why I tell, look exactly like your DAF, if not even slimmer than your DAF.
Yes, sir.
You walk in and they feel, wow, wow, what a girl. Exactly for the civil service. And you come in with a smile and you greet everyone and you sit down. The way you sit down has to. So the first focal, what the 3 by 3, the assessment of you from 3 meters to 3 feet. वो 3 मीटर से लेकर 3 फीट तक जब आप चल के आती हैं और आप एक ग्रीटिंग्स करती हैं और बैठती हैं, उस पर पहला असेसमेंट होता है. अब आप बैठ गई. So the way you sit also, please make yourself comfortable because you'll be sitting in that chair for at least 25 to 30 minutes. And the one way to do it is sit, align your back to the back of the chair, then move a little in front, which means you sit like that, and then, आराम से आके बैठिए, and then align yourself a little, just move a little in front to show I'm being, respectful. I'm, that respectful honesty wala. I'm being respectful. I'm not के पीछे lean करके बैठे हुए. Number one. Number two, I'm attentive. Number three, I don't want to miss out any words that you would be putting in my direction. But lastly, and most importantly, I don't want you to miss out on any of the things that I'm going to say, because I'm going to say pearls of wisdom. So you've sat down now, you give me a smile, etc. The thing starts. The first time that they are, in fact, of course, eye contact, I've already told you, this is the first time that they'll be hearing from you in terms of vocal. Yes. Vocal, again, 4 things very clearly, your tone, tenor, your speed, and volume. The speed at which you speak, the volume. Practice that. That don't have to be too fast, you don't have to be too slow, you have to be toned loud. There's just the right thing. You've done it before. There's a right tone and tenor, which shows all the things which equals to qualities required of a personality from a civil servant. Yes, which means maturity, confidence, certainty, determination, effectiveness, functionality, knowledge. Everything has to come out in the vocal aspects of your conversation. So certain words you shall never use, which is honestly speaking, truthfully speaking, actually speaking, factually speaking, and all other words that are in that genre, for the simple reason that all your answers are honest, actual, factual, and correct. So don't use it. Yes. Practice that it doesn't come out. Yes. Because होता क्या फिर खुशहाली है कि मतलब अच्छा अब ये जब ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग बोल के स्टार्ट कर रही है तो इसका मतलब बाकी जब वो बोल रही तो क्या वो डिसऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग. So again, avoid. Having done so, you start your conversation. But in up tak any doubts up to this point?
No, sir, all clear.
So 3-4 tricks of the trade. One is, I said, train your ears to listen to the conversational trigger, not just the question within the trigger. In which case, otherwise what happens is that you tend to answer the question alone because that's all that you have heard and not engage in the conversation. And we'll do a mock at some time to just kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Number two, please count 5 at the end of the conversational trigger in your mind very quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then start speaking. This is to clearly establish that the conversational trigger is over. And it's not just a pause between a conversational trigger, because फिर वो बड़ा embarrassing हो जाएगा कि आपने फटाक से शुरू कर दिया और उन्होंने कहा नो खुशहाली Ms. Solanki, I've not even completed. Allow me to complete. Then you'll say, okay, sir, you please complete. And then, no, Khushhali, now that you've started, okay, you give. You give, I give, you stop, I stop. ये सब मतलब they are avoidable issues. So make sure you do a count of 5 after the silence. And then you start. ऐसा बुरा नहीं लगता. It's just, and then you start again. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, in that 5, you are also not, as I said, so first thing I told you is silent and listen. They have the same alphabets, SILENT and LISTEN. And there's a huge link between them, which means you have to literally silence your body, mind, and soul when listening to the conversational trigger. And I'm telling you again and again and again, because the ears somehow just listen to what you want to listen. वो ग्लास का खेल है ना, वो आधा कभी खाली लगता है, कभी भरा लगता है. ग्लास तो
Yes.
वही है, लेकिन हमें कभी खाली भरा लगता है. तो वो वैसे ही जैसे आंखों का खेल है, वैसे कभी कभी कान भी खेल करने लग जाता है. So make sure that you listen to that conversational trigger. And now then you start speaking. Then within that count of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're doing one of the most critical functions which will ensure that you land up at 210, 215, is you have to think and shrink. Think and shrink is the capacity to be able to bring down from a 10-minute database of speaking that you have, which is written, into 3 minutes broken down conversational databases from that 10 minutes, again, which you have written. And from that 3 minutes, you pick out whichever 3-minute one that you have. So the capsule that you have to pick out, then present it to the panel in 2 capsules of about 90 to 95 seconds each.
Okay.
So from 10 to 3. Now 10 to 3 is already written by you. So what is the meaning of your name? Why did your parents, when Rajesh and Sangeeta saw you for the first time, why did they wanted to call you Khushhali? उनकी जिंदगी में कैसी ऐसी खुशहाली? So पूरा talk to your parents, talk to your father, talk to your mother and find out भाई क्यों आपने मुझे खुशहाली नाम दिया? आप दोनों, both your parents are executive engineers and father's engineers. He also now 2 executive engineers. I was one daughter wanting not to become a non-executive. Questions like that, all singing out of your daff. सब पे आपको बनाना है.
Yes, sir.
And then you're from Bikaner, Bikaneri bhujia, geographical tags, all those things about Bikaner is again famous for food. So Bikaner is significant. Bikaner is also all about Bikaner,
Yes,
including
sir.
species of cattle, Bikaneri camels, and everything is a lot about Bikaner, which everything about Bikaner you must know.
Yes, sir.
But depending on the conversational trigger, you will pull out. You could talk about Bikaner for 15 minutes, but those 15 minutes you would have broken down into socioeconomic, cultural significance of Bikaner, foodie habits of this thing, political significance of this thing, industrial development of Bikaner, contribution of Bikaner to the industrial development of Rajasthan. ये 3, 4, 5 आपके पास कैप्सूल्स भी हैं. अगर ओवरऑल क्वेश्चन आया तो सब में से एक एक चीज पकड़ी. Tell us something special about Bikaner. Then if you'll just pick up one of each to say there are many things special about it, but I'll restrict myself to 4, sir: socioeconomic, cultural, political, and historical or industrial significance. And then, but how do you think, what's the significance of socioeconomic, cultural significance of Bikaner to Rajasthan? Then you don't talk, you industry सब फट निकल गया. तो सोशियो इकोनॉमिक कल्चरल कैप्सूल में गया, उसमें से क्या कीवर्ड्स पकड़ने थे 3 मिनट के जो अंडरलाइन किए कीवर्ड्स पकड़ने, ताकि मैं उस पर 3, 4, 5 मिनट बात कर सकती हूँ, लेकिन मैं 90 सेकंड बताऊंगी. And then you talk about it. Now what I call is you have to practice how to leave conversational earthworms.
Yes.
Now conversational earthworms, see, when you do fishing, at the end of the fishing line you put an earthworm. And it goes in, when it goes into the water, the earthworm keeps moving. And as it is moving, the fish comes and catches it. The fish thinks I've caught the earthworm, but actually the fish has got caught. So you need to dangle conversational earthworms in your conversation.
Yes, sir.
Which the panel at least must catch. And then you elaborate on that, which means not only you must know how to start strong, despite your best urge to speak, you must know where to damn well stop. And you stop at a point where the panel feels कि भाई खुशहाली चुप क्यों गई? Khushhali, that last point which you were making about, you just kind of, could you elaborate on that, please? That's your earthworm.
Yes, sir.
So every data of your DAF has the capacity to become a conversational trigger. Number 2, every word of your conversation answer has the capacity to become another conversational trigger. I would suggest that you must deliberately include in conversation at least one or two conversational earthworms in each of the capsules. उसमें से कोई सा भी पकड़े, you then talk about it, then you come out looking good. They think इसको पकड़ लिया, but actually उन्होंने नहीं पकड़ा, आपने उनको पकड़ लिया. तो ये तो लिखना पड़ेगा. You'll have to just write it out. You'll have to write out on every aspect of your DAF. So I have now told you in string, and I've told you about capsulization. Any doubts up to this point?
No, sir.
Good. So we will now are you aware of your date of birth is 1511? That's
Yes.
also something else.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know. Okay,
Uh,
so we'll do a mock now. You come and sit down. So you can give me your best smile or whatever it is. No, good evening, sir.
okay. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Khushhali. Good to have you with us in this panel now. Khushhali, your name is, exuberates happiness, Khushhali.
Yes.
And you have a wonderful smile also, let me tell you. But your birthday is significant for it's the International Day Against the Violence of Women. So, what do you think are the reasons that even today, and you read the newspapers every day in India, you hear about some sort of violence against women and some sort of thing that. What do you think are the reasons for violence against women, even in this day and age?
Sir, I believe that it are of reasons. It- First, are living in a
So you only got the question.
okay.
You didn't catch the conversation. Come, Khushhali, come inside. You have such a wonderful, beautiful name. The name itself spreads exuberance. But do you know that your name, birthday is so and so, so and so? And then the question, what do you think are the reasons for this? So what you've given is an answer to my question. You're not holding a conversation. You've just been given the most beautiful compliment by a board which may kind of make and break your life.
Sir, I have to thank first for the compliment and then start.
So a conversation would be, thank you so much, sir, for calling my name so beautiful. And I'm glad that I've generated some amount of Khushhali in this room by virtue of my name. And you rightly mentioned 1511 is the date, which is also celebrated as the International Day for Violence Against Women. Coming back specifically to the question that you asked, sir, I feel that the major factors for violence against women could be many, but I'm limiting myself to 4 or 3, whatever you want to say. And then you talk those 3, 1, 2, 3. And in those 3, you will leave conversational triggers. You've also left a conversational trigger when you said the reasons for violence against women are many, but I'm restricting myself to 3. Now, in the 3 also you leave. So what you could say, one is could be socioeconomic, what could be cultural, whatever study on that, you leave. But a panel member may say that you said, okay, you mentioned, but you said there are many reasons for it. Can you tell some more reasons apart from the 3? अब उसको लगेगा उसने आपको पकड़ लिया, बट आपने जानबूझ के वो छोड़ा था क्योंकि आपको सभी मालूम है, आपको 6-7 मालूम थे, but you restricted yourself to 3, hoping that he will say what are the many, and then you come out with the other 3 of.
But I didn't know a conversation like
Perfect, you
that.
are perfect girl, you are perfect, don't worry. एक तो पता है माता का नाम संगीता है, बीकानेर की हो, राजस्थान की हो, तो I can't call you anything but perfect. I mean, I'm just other children I kind of thrash a lot, but to you I'll have to be kind. मेरा काम बड़ा सिंपल है बेटा. I'll tell you what. I see diamonds. I see a diamond inside of you, but right now it's not showing. And what happens when a diamond has to be done? It has to be the coal has to be heated a lot. and then it has to be cut, thrashed in all sides before the luster comes out. And then the luster has to be trapped inside the diamond. That what the light gets trapped by the angles in such a way that it's not allowed to leave. Now, that's a painful process. So that's my job. I mean, so don't like it, but that's how the radiance will happen.
Yes, sir.
So again and again, I'm telling you, please teach your ears not just to listen to the question, because otherwise you'll end up answering questions rather than conversation. So I just gave you a glimpse. Now, as I said, go back to your DAF and you will find hundreds of areas where you could do it. As I said, including your signature. You know, your signature is like at the rate of. And why? And you don't sign Khushhali, you only sign Khushi. So study the art of signing. What is the significance of that? Why do you not sign Khushhali? Two H's in your name. So
Yes.
do you believe in that? Uh, numerology and stuff like that. इस सब पे सवाल बन सकते हैं ना आए ना आए I don't know, but you need to understand, because that's something on which the triggers are. And on these issues, let me tell you, Khushhali, you cannot say I don't.
Yes, sir.
So every data on your DAF, as I said, has the capacity to become, including your date of birth, your email ID, your name, your address, your university, your school, college. Because for all you know, there may be somebody sitting there who's also studied there. So would be happy to know that, what do you remember the motto of the school, and things like that. And you say, yes, of course, I remember the motto of the school, and you tell it, because you never know. As I said, you never know. So कौन कहाँ से क्या निकल के आ जाएगा? You've done B.Tech, you've done engineering. I think again, your mother and father both being this thing. So was it a love marriage? Did they both happen to just marry and then become executive engineers, or they were executive engineers, got married? There'll be some question that will be asked to make you relax and make you feel good and easy, but it will be built on the first page of your DAF.
Yes, sir.
But आप अपनी तरफ से इसको don't think कि कुछ सवाल आएगा तो मैं बोल दूंगी, नहीं. You have to write out. You have to write out 8 to 10 minutes of good information on each of those things, and then pick up some keywords which you must use in your conversation, and make it a conversation worth hearing. So they also enjoy it. There's a smile on their face when they listen to your conversation. Arey wah, kya achhi baat kari, So that is when the first 5-7 minutes happen. That will clearly bracketize you in 180 plus mode. So having done that, you need to, and as I said, but I've told you, every data of your DAF, capacity for conversation trigger, every word of your conversation, capacity to become a conversation trigger. So don't use, big words. Don't use words if you're asked to explain, then you don't know what they mean. Which best happens when you've written down answers. As far as possible, 100 questions, page after page, likho, register, rat lo. You
Yes.
have to study about it more than what you did for the mains.
Yes.
And then in that space of B.Tech, executive engineering, and then you've done B.Tech, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So again, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, बहुत कुछ आ सकता है. उनका सिविल सर्विस से बड़ा कनेक्शन था. फ्रेमवर्क उन्होंने बोला, वो सिविल सर्विस डे and all. These are all. Now again, please don't just don't throw knowledge at them. Based on your knowledge, if you can see, it's like throwing 4 flowers or weaving them into a garland and giving them a garland. What you have to present is garlands. So this is what I said. It just comes out. Badminton, definitely. Sustainable housing is something that I think can be a talk. Exploring the grievances of rural people is again something very interesting. And I'm sure in all your mock interviews also, people must have asked you.
Yes, sir. So even the final interview, they asked 2 things: the sustainable housing and this grievance redressal part. Sustainable housing part and the exploring grievances part.
I told you. I mean, I said they may ask you about badminton, but actually badminton, abhi tak I've done 3 or 4 DAPs and सब में badminton आ रहा है. तो जिसमें जब और कुछ नहीं होता है तो चलो बैडमिंटन पे पूछ लो because there's nothing else. But you've got sustainable housing and you've now exploring the grievances of rural people. Uh, okay, let me ask, why do you explore, why are you exploring the grievances of rural people? Do you think the urban people are less unhappy?
Uh, Sir, even the urban people may be sad or have grievances, but I feel that the people are eventually migrating from the rural areas to urban areas for a better life. So if their grievances are resolved then and there, so we might lessen the grievances of urban people as a whole, sir. So I believe that.
Written answer है इसका?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a written answer for this?
No, sir.
Okay, but studies have clearly shown that in the happiness index of the rural people is far higher than the happiness index of urban people. Okay, which is the happiest country in the world?
Uh, Sir, it is Finland.
The happiest country in the world is Bhutan.
So, uh,
Happiness
sir,
index. I'm not talking health index. I'm not talking human capital development. Talking happiness index.
sir, may I say something? I just read it yesterday that Bhutan is ranked 97 in the World Happiness Index, but the gross happiness index that Bhutan calculates for itself is what is measured rather than its GDP. This is what I read, but I will confirm it
Yeah,
once.
sure. No, I'm saying so. Happiness is happiness linked to geography? I mean, if you're saying looking at the grievances of rural people, is happiness geographic centric or is it what's the basis of happiness? See, I'm saying this is an area in which a lot of questions can.
Yes,
So,
sir.
काफी इस पे prepare करना because urban rural. Now, if you are looking at how are you exploring the grievances? I mean, they're not a mock question, but how are you exploring it? Do you go to the rural areas? Do you talk to people? I mean, what do you do?
Yes, sir. I visit the rural areas with my mother, and I usually sit down with the people in a circle. And because of this, the people feel that I am one of their person only. I'm not an outsider. This generates interest and trust in the eyes of those people. And then I start speaking in the local language, which is Marwadi over here. So people feel that okay, someone
तो
is
तो नहीं
there
use
who.
करना है. You don't have to use to. Huh? Try and avoid that word
Sorry.
to because
So
sometimes
that's
what happens in the, when we are so used to mixing English and Hindi, instead of saying so, we say to.
yes, sir.
Hmm.
Sorry. So people believe that there is someone who is ready to listen to their grievances. This much happiness generates a glitter in their eyes, and that's why
See,
I,
the question is, how do you explore the grievances of rural people? You
sir,
have
I
actually
talk to
again
them.
gone. So, yeah. So you can say that it obviously has to be face to face,
Yes,
and
sir.
I do it by actually going to the rural areas. Are you aware of what is PRA?
Uh, no, sir.
Participatory Rural Appraisal.
I will read on it, sir.
Participatory Rural Appraisal is the methodology by which you what you do, which you sit down with the people in a circle on their bed and pick up things of like stones and leaves from the village itself and then look at it and analyze various aspects. Let's say if it's a water problem, so where does the water stop? And or it's a happiness problem, it's a migratory problem. It's called participatory rural appraisal system. The PRA is short word for it. I think you should read it because it is a
Mhm.
very well standard technique which is used for rural participation and understanding people's needs. So you could actually, if you study about it, read about it, who started it, how is it used, you could therefore use that. Say that I explore the grievances of people by 2, 3 methods. One is by face to face, means I go to the village with them. Then I use the PRA technique to assess their challenges, and of course, then localization, which means I use local material, I use the local language, try and build keywords,
Yes.
and then on each keyword, speak a little bit. What is it? So essentially, what you have to say that look to getting to a point where the people are able to share their grievances, I think we need to win their confidence.
Yes,
So
sir.
how does one win the confidence? So one, it can't be on a phone call. So I go there. So number one, physical participation. Number two, uh, using their stuff. So which is where I use the PRA method and I use local materials and sit down and explore their challenges. Number four, language. So I use their language. I don't speak to them, and I'm and number two is breaking all things that is a rural urban divide. So I don't take pen, pencil, paper. I just go empty handed and then sit with them, eat with them. So that's what are the so-called CBMs, so-called confidence building measures that you use to ensure that people actually tell you the truth. So उस पे भी एक आंसर ऐसा बना, and all this because in every conversation from you, you are in some invisible way determined to show that I have the personality and the qualities that are required of a civil servant.
Yes, sir.
This is an interview for you to become a civil. तो हर एक चीज में ये सोचना है कि इसमें से मैं कौन सा. So what are the things required of a civil servant? As I told you, a you have to be inclusive in your attitude. You have to be vigilant. You cannot be lazy. You have to have a method to doing things. Then you have to have a and go for the people and reach for them. You should be aware of your team. You should be aware of your terrain, awareness. These are various qualities. I think your phone number is there. I will WhatsApp to you what are the qualities that are required and what are the qualities which is expected of a civil servant, in which is a slide and board in Labasta. Have you got that? I think if you see, I think it will be available somewhere. If you go to Google, you can search for qualities required from a civil servant as defined by Labasta. So probably you'll find that board. So it talks about, as I said, inclusiveness. It talks about an attitude of, and it talks not bragging, listening, an attitude of listening rather than speaking. There are a lot of these qualities. And try and see if I can, वो झलक दिखला दो ना, झलक दिखला जा, झलक दिखला दा. You have to see कि वो, I can show some झलक of those qualities in my conversation when I'm talking to people.
Yes, sir.
And then last but not the least, as I said, it's very important that you must leave with the same flourish as you entered, with the same joy, with the same, uh, you know, because when you came there, you were not sure whether you'll become a civil servant. But after having spent 25 to 30 minutes, now you are absolutely sure this interview has gone so well that I will become a civil servant. And I always give the example of, you see that program called KBC, Kaun Banega Crorepati?
Yes, sir.
तो वो जो फास्टेस्ट फिंगर फर्स्ट में जीत जाते हैं तो क्या रिएक्शन होता है? पागल हो जाते हैं ना बिल्कुल.
Yes, sir.
बिल्कुल, अरे क्या बात है, मतलब बिल्कुल पागल हो जाते हैं. Think of that chair as KBCS, कौन बनेगा सिविल सर्वेंट,
Civil sir.
और आपको मौका मिल गया है 7 लाख में से फिंगर फर्स्ट होते होते आप 2600 में पहुंच गए टू गो एंड सिट इन द चेयर. उतने ही जोश से अंदर जाके बैठना है और 15-20 मिनट का कॉन्वर्सेशन होता है. उसके बाद आप करोड़पति नहीं बन रही है, आप करोड़पति की भी करोड़पति बन रही है, बिकॉज यू आर बिकमिंग अ सिविल सर्वेंट. And you will get an opportunity to not just earn money, but earn the love, respect, dignity, livelihood of millions and millions of people. Karodon ke mail upar karod, all through that chair. So when you leave also, come out with a flourish, with a thanking them for the time that you spend there. Suppose they say, Khushhali, your interview time is over, or your conversation is over, the interview is over. Thank you. Thank you so much for, I should be the one saying thank you, because I've learned a lot and I've really enjoyed these last 25 to 30 minutes in your company, sirs, ma'am. Best wishes to all of you for the rest of the day. Khamagani. Please greet them in Rajasthani when you leave.
So can I do this?
करके देखो तो.
Okay.
Nothing
Okay.
wrong. खुशी हो भाई, खुश हो. Khamagani, sir.
Okay, sir.
And they will say, हाँ भाई क्षमा करी चलो भाई all the best. उनको भी मजा आएगा ना, बिकॉज हर आदमी थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर, साला बेवकूफों की तरह से सर झुका झुका करता रहे वो तरह से। तो कोई शेरनी आई यार, शेरनी की तरह से आई, शेरनी की तरह से गई।
Okay, sir. I will
And
do
believe
this.
me, they are looking to recruit शेरनीज यार। ठीक है, सो टारगेट नंबर 1 तो आपका सबसे पहले था -4 किलो।
Yes, sir.
तो ये भी 4 किलो कम हो जाए तो फिर एक दफे दर्शन दिखाइएगा जरा।
Yes, sir.
और मेरा नंबर तो आप सही, आप इट्स 9940132323।
Okay, sir.
Just send me a WhatsApp message. So I think I also have it, but I'll share the qualities of expected of a civil servant, but you can also Google it and we'll find it out.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, doubts?
Sir,
Otherwise, there's 1 or 2 more candidates waiting for me.
yes, sir. I just wanted to thank you because I actually had no idea that how to start a conversation. I was just answering all the time. But
Okay, in the eye contact, I feel that you keep doing this, you keep moving away. So I would suggest that you attend to that also.
yes.
That eye contact
So
should
right now I was typing, that's why maybe
हाँ, चलो कोई बात नहीं। आई एम सेइंग मिरर में देख
I
के अपने
will
आप को रिकॉर्ड करो।
read.
You know, record yourself in the mirror and keep the camera behind you so that you capture the mirror image and
Yes,
then look at it. Right from simple thing. Khushhali, you're from Bikaner, Rajasthan. It's a very beautiful state, and Bikaner is such a beautiful place. Tell us something about yourself. Simple question. उसका एक जवाब दिया तो उसमें बीकानेर का भी रेफरेंस है, राजस्थान का भी रेफरेंस, समथिंग आई मस्ट कॉन्वर्सेशन आई शुड डू about Bikaner. And just says tell about when. Please remember when it says tell us something about yourself. Don't tell too much about your mom, bap, school. The question is simple. Tell us something about yourself. So who is Khushhali? आप ये बताइए. Practice that then and learn to. ऐसा simple thing है, think and shrink. You have to think and shrink. क्या पूछ क्या रहे हैं वही जवाब देना है.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But God bless you, and I'm sure you'll do very well again. I only hope you get in the mains exam, and the actually the अब तुम लोग का number पर तो actually I was about 40 odd in my civil list, and my marks were 1,100 something, 1,200. अब तो unthinkable है.
Yes, sir.
So I don't know. I think they are either less marks they are giving, or those days they gave more marks. I don't know. But I mean, it's quite surprising that even the toppers are now, I think, at 55 and 58%,
Yes, sir.
whereas we were all 60% plus. And at 60% plus, I was 40 odd in the all India list. Topper was even more than that. ठीक है, चलो, all the best. Come back
Thank
to
you.
me, please, again.
Yes,
And
sir.
let me know once you get the date of your personality test, and
Yes, sir.
we'll work out on that. But before that, as I said, just start working out at every level, mental
Yes,
and
sir.
physical.
Yes, sir.
Cheers,
Thank you,
bye.
sir.
My regards to your parents. Bye bye.